I know that all of us are probably thinking defensive end, pass rush help, get that book in. Obviously, after what offseason has been like for the Detroit Lions, but can somebody sell me? I'm okay with the trenches, but somebody sell me on taking somebody on the offensive line.
Well,
instead,
Bucky Brooks seems to think so because he put out a mock draft in which it had the Lions selecting at pick 28. JB, if you want to give the big reveal, Donovan Jackson, guard from Ohio State. Hold
on, I got you.
You do?
We ain't got to do our own sound effects, bro.
With the 28th pick. No, I'm not going to do all that because you'll see in a second.
I need my X-Files, though.
Yeah, I got you. Always. We still haven't figured out who orchestrated the attack, so I'm just saying.
It was I'm innocent. I'm an innocent man.
I did it for Flannel.
Right.
I did it for Flannel Sam.
And why'd you have to go doing that, bro?
I'm sorry, man.
No, not you. The guy who actually did it.
Yeah,
because
your burner account.
Obviously, it does look a little bit suspicious, and I don't blame you guys for turning this into a bit, but I promise you, I am not that much of a sociopath. I'm just a little bit of a sociopath.
That's all.
But
nothing a lobotomy can't fix.
Yeah.
Oh, well, didn't make a great case for myself this morning, but to be fair, what Super Bowl Cartier said was just beyond idiotic. But going back to the 28th overall pick, and this is the quick little write-up that they give, Brad Holmes' master plan revolves around the trenches. Jackson is a day one starter with a nasty attitude and physical game to fit in perfectly with the Lions' dominant offensive line. And you know what? I will just start with myself, what I would think of the Lions going with Donovan Jackson at pick 28. I think it would be malfeasance. Absolute malfeasance if the Lions drafted Donovan Jackson.
So you're not selling me on it, huh?
I am not going to sell you on it. I will give one caveat. If Donovan Jackson is there at 60, I would be okay with it. But if he's not, you just say, we missed out on that one. Because in my opinion, I know that there's the philosophy of if you want to get the best player at a certain position, the best guard will probably be available at 28. The problem is that I don't think that there's a first-round level guard in this year's draft. There's not, like, remember last year we talked about guys like Jackson Powers-Johnson and Graham Barton and Zach Frazier. I mean, JPJ and Zach Frazier were picked in the second round, by the way, for what it's worth. Graham Barton in the end of the first. But I don't think that there's one prospect in this draft that is even as good as those ones are. So you save a guard pick for later on. And I get the appeal of Donovan Jackson. He's obviously talented. Was productive last year. And I think this is what might intrigue Brad Holmes. He was a guard for most of his career, but due to injuries, he had to move over for left tackle at the end of the year and actually played pretty well. I understand that. And he played left tackle in the college football playoff, and we all know what happened with Ohio State winning the national championship. So the talent's there. The versatility is there. The production, I think, was a little bit more mid than good at times, but he was still pretty good. But if I'm picking a guard at 28, I want somebody who is going to step right in and potentially be just that elite guard on day one. I don't care as much about versatility to play tackle. I mean, you got Taylor Decker under contract for 3 more years. I'm more concerned about if Graham Glasgow starts to slip up. I would rather have somebody whose versatility more is in line with guard and center. Fortunately, I have another option that I'd rather have the Lions pursue, but I will get to that in just a couple of moments. I do not want Donovan Jackson at 28. I don't want any guard at 28. If he's there at 60, if Tyler Booker is there at 60, I'd be fine with that. But honestly, what I would rather do is I would rather hold off on this, get an edge rusher, and then hope that either Jackson or Booker are available at 60, Tate Ratledge is available at like 102, or Willie Lampkin is available at 130. That's what I would do because I think you can get better value in later rounds.
Now, you said it best, Flannel, and when you look at Brad Holmes' history, I like his ability to find value outside the first round. With the offensive line, we like some of the stuff that we've seen. And that's where I'm like, you know what, if you can go and get that defensive edge, that pass rush help, I'm all for it. That's been a recurring and a reframe for 2 seasons now. But 14 Grit, he believes the offensive guard is a bigger need than edge.
But even if that's true, which I disagree with, by the way, I think you could get more value in later rounds. I think it's whatever guard that you take will be a reach in the first round. If you're taking a guard in round 1, I would honestly expect him to start for Graham Glasgow right away and then have Graham Glasgow be that super backup that he could obviously back up the center and the guard position. And I just don't think there's one available in this draft class, but I think there's a lot of good value in the later rounds.
Sam, why you always throwing that mal word around? Malfeasance. I wouldn't say it's malfeasance if they decided to take a guard at 28. Only because at 28, you're getting your pick of the litter, essentially. That's like being at the top of the draft for offensive linemen. So it is what it is, man. If they decide that they, like a Donovan Jackson and want to bring him in and plug him in, and if it's true that he's a day one starter and can possibly start over Graham, I'm not mad at that. Because, listen, any guard that you put in that spot is playing next to Frank Ragnow and he's playing next to Penei Sewell. They're probably going to succeed more times than not. I mean, there's a strong chance that whoever you put there is going to have success.
The same scenario we present for any young defensive end that we're going to put on the line.
No, absolutely. So I wouldn't be mad at this at all. And then the defensive end, this draft is particularly deep in terms of defensive end. So if they spin the block in round 2 or possibly move up in the second round, I think that's definitely a possibility. We all know Brad. We know he likes to get aggressive. If they decide to wait at 28 and get a guard, then my mind would instantly tell me, okay, he's probably going to get aggressive and trade up for an edge in the second or third round, but hopefully second round, of course. But, yeah, I wouldn't be mad if it's a guard at 1 because it's a need. I can see if it wasn't a need. This is a need on this team.
It seems like the philosophy comes down to how much more of the value can you find lower in the other rounds, second, third, fourth, where you're picking, as it relates to which side of the trenches, defensive line or offensive line, that then you're able to go and I guess take a swing, like you said, in the first round, I guess, if you believe that this player can step in day one and start on the offensive line. But I don't know, I feel like if you can go and identify with that first round a high-end talent on the defensive line, just to me, I feel like you're helping your team out that much more, seeing what the pass rush was in the Super Bowl.
No, trust me, I get it.
And when we played the Commanders and when we played the Bills, we saw the different schemes that they were able to employ against the Lions that got enough pressure on Jared Goff to make him really uncomfortable. And it's like we need to be able to employ that, especially with Hutch on his way back.
Yeah, no, my bad, real quick. But yeah, I definitely agree. And shout out Broder in the chat. He says Donovan Jackson is a perfect scheme fit. And listen, I don't doubt that. Like, I think if they go out and seek out an offensive lineman, I'm sure they've done their due diligence. And he's probably going to come in and contribute maybe right away. So I'm not necessarily worried if they were to take a guard in that spot. And I'm more in line with Flannel and with what you're feeling. I would prefer an edge rusher in the first round. I would prefer you trade up for an edge rusher in the first round. But if that's what they decide to do and they want to go offensive lineman first and then spin the block in the second round, and that's going to be the key, because I can damn near guarantee that if they were to do that, they are going to spin the block in the second round and get some kind of edge rusher.
All right, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the PFF big board has it wrong, but Donovan Jackson is listed as the number 67 prospect overall. And I understand that there's going to be teams that are in need of a guard, in need of a offensive lineman with some versatility. You saw him play left tackle, as I mentioned before, and do it fairly well last year. I understand that he might not be available at 60. I think that's one of those, as I said before, that if he is, you know what? I'll say this. If you want me to give some grace to Donovan Jackson, if Donovan Jackson is available at 60, I'll pick that 100%. I just think positional value, you should get an edge in the first round, because as of right now, and I think that some people forget this, or some people have actually convinced themselves in their head that it's okay. The bookend edge is Marcus Davenport as of right now. I repeat, the bookend edge right now is Marcus Davenport. If you tell me that before the draft they re-sign Zadarius Smith to a cheaper deal and then go Donovan Jackson in the first round, I could stomach that a little bit more. But I'll just be honest. The last 3 years with Marcus Davenport, I will repeat it again. 2022, 15 games, half a sack. 2023 and 2024 combined, 6 games played, 28 games missed. That's your bookend right now.
Yeah.
All I keep hearing is that, oh, they don't need to get another free agent edge, or, oh, bringing back Davenport and AQM, et cetera, is okay because they are going to get the bookend in the draft. And now people are like, we don't need that. Let's reach for an offensive guard. I can't.
Because he's legit, because we were like, we got Zadarius with Aiden coming back, and it's like, nope. Well, we got free agency, and it's like, nope. And now I'm seeing more and more, offensive line first round, and it's like, all right, trust in Brad.
Yeah, no, Sam, you said positional value, and you know how Brad Holmes is looking at you. He in his rock voice right now. It doesn't matter what your positional value is. He don't give a damn about positional value. Brad gonna do what Brad gonna do, man, and that's what we got to accept as fans. And like you said, I'm more in line with y'all. Of course, I want to see that edge rusher be here because we all know that's the real area of need on this team, but keeping a strength for strength, I'm not mad at that. And maybe it's not Donovan Jackson. I wouldn't be, mad if it wasn't. But I just mean as far as philosophy, if they decide to go offensive lineman first, I'm cool. I get it. I just need that edge rusher within the next couple rounds, or move up for one. But at that point, just go out there and get one in the later rounds.
So if it's not defensive line, for you, it has to be offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And then listen, edges are gonna drop in this draft, y'all. Like, this is a loaded draft. There are gonna be some guys that will be available to you in the second round. So that's why, me personally, I'm not tripping on it as much.
And you got some options, right?
Well, I have one option in particular that I want to highlight in just a second, but just to further my point, just before I get to what I would ultimately want, I'm not mad.
Take a break before your option too. Set it up.
All right, let's set it up, and then we'll take a break, and then we will come back. I personally don't think that Tate Ratledge is that much worse of a prospect than Donovan Jackson. And I think that there is no doubt in my mind that Tate Ratledge will be there at 60. He's, of course, the guard prospect from Georgia. The only real thing about Tate Ratledge that he doesn't have that Donovan Jackson does is Tate Ratledge is strictly a guard. He didn't play any center in college, and he didn't play any tackle. But right now, I think that if you were to do something like that, like Tate Ratledge at 60, which isn't my first choice, but I would be okay with it. You could potentially have him as a starter either at the beginning of the season or as the season progresses for Graham Glasgow, and then Graham Glasgow can be that super backup. I don't think you need to be messing with it in the first round. But Tate Ratledge is not my ultimate crush when it comes to guards. I've got another one that I want to highlight when I come back in a different round. And we'll see what y'all think.
All right.
Hey, you know what, man? Shout out to my guy, Chris, my guy. I think it might be Chris on demand in the chat as well. He told me he's going to tap in. It's his first time with the chat family and watching the show today. We did music together, and we got some things cooking as well. But shout out to him and their group, Only One Way, and his brother, Matt. Hey, just honestly awesome people, man, for real. So I saw some of the chat family already welcoming him. And that's what we are, man. So, hey, let's continue. If you haven't, hit that like button. And thank you, everybody, for sending in those super chats. Do we have any to clean up before we get to this flannel tease?
You know we got something to clean up. Once again, shout out to everyone sending in super chats. $4.99 from my guy Nasty.
Hey.
He said the Lions are going to make a trade up to 2025 and keep pick 28.
Oh,
be ready, y'all.
Shit, okay.
Edge and O-line.
All right, Nasty.
Nasty. If you want to send that scenario in the chat, we'll read it because that sounds pretty far-fetched. But
hey, talk your shit though. I ain't gonna
about to say, if you've got something, we'll entertain it.
Hey, he like Dr. Umar. I don't agree with everything he say, but I'm not gonna stop him either. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
Exactly. And we got another one from Dante151. He sent in $4.99. He said, and he gave Kenneth Grant to the Bills and Derek Harmon to the Chiefs. What kind of Looney Tunes BS is that? Was he smoking something before that?
I mean, but at the same time, those would be damn good picks for those teams.
Yes.
So I think you're talking about they won't fall that far, but if they do, oh God, don't let Derek Harmon go to the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's tough.
Well, actually, I wouldn't mind so much because I'd like them to win the AFC and lose to the Lions. This guy openly roots for the Warriors every single day.
No, he on bullshit too. Y'all both on bullshit.
I don't root for the Chiefs. He literally said, darn. Like when an actual loss would have helped the Pistons.
Y'all both under investigation right now. I'm sorry.
At least you're consistent.